So we have been hearing from Venugit how the gopis were thinking of the rivers that they were offering lotuses to Krishna. So these rivers, Yamuna and Mansi Ganga, they offered lotuses to Krishna. This we heard yesterday. Till here we heard yesterday. All the rivers, they are the wives of the ocean. All the rivers, they are the wife of the ocean. That is why they are always eager to meet their husband. All the rivers, their husband is the ocean. That is why in Bharat, especially in Bharat, Gange cha Jamune cha Godavari, Narmade, Narmada, Sindhu, Kaveri, all these rivers, they all meet the ocean. These rivers are the wives of the ocean, and ocean is their husband, and they are the wives of the ocean. But in Braj Mandal, we have Yamuna Maharani and Mansi Ganga. What is their nature? Their nature is little different. What is their nature? They're not like other rivers. They are attracted to Krishna's beauty, and they're attracted to Krishna's flute sound. And by hearing that and by seeing Krishna's beauty, these rivers of Vrindavan, and when they hear Krishna's flute song, they forget their shyness and their dharma towards their husband. They leave that, they abandon that, and they get excited to meet Krishna. This is their dharma in Braj. The dharma of these two rivers, Yamuna Maharani and Mansi Ganga. So gopis also do the same thing. They leave their social values, uh, moral values. They have no, I mean, they abandon their moral values, and they go. They even abandon their patni dharam, which is to serve their husbands, and they go out to serve Krishna. They go out to meet Krishna. Same mood. Now the gopis are describing for these rivers of Braj that the husband of the rivers is the ocean, but the rivers of Braj, Yamuna ji and Mansi Ganga, their nature is different. These rivers are, they have left all their shyness, social etiquette, moral values, their duty towards their husband. They left all that. They left all that. So there's the word used here is jalanjali. That means you take water in your hand, and these rivers have done the same thing. They have given jalanjali to their dharma towards their husband who is ocean. Yamuna Maharani all the time, she is hankering to meet Krishna all the time. This is true. Mansi Ganga also, Mansi Ganga is always eager to assist in the pastimes of Krishna. So here we cannot say that gopis are seeing rivers through their moods. The moods of Mansi Ganga and Yamuna is this only actually. But Yamuna and Mansi Ganga has only, the husband of Mansi Ganga is Krishna. She has no other husband. Leaving these two rivers, Yamuna and Mansi Ganga, these rivers, they touch the lotus feet of Krishna, and they also touch the chest of Krishna with their waves, soft waves. They fulfilled their desires and they made their life successful. The manobhisht, like the desire of the rivers is what? What is the desire of the rivers? They want to touch Krishna. Do they desire to always flow? No. Their desire is to always meet. Is their desire to meet with the ocean? No, no, not even that. Their desire is to meet with Krishna, not to meet the ocean, not to just flow, but their desire is to touch Krishna, his lotus feet, to embrace his chest. This is the nature or the mood or the desire of the rivers. Uh, in this verse, Mukund is used. Mukund Kamloparaha. Mukund Kamloparaha. The gopis use the word here Mukund. There is a reason behind that. Why they referring Krishna as Mukund? Gopis call Krishna as Sham Sundar. There is some reason for that. If gopis call him Giridhari, there is a reason for that. Why they call him Sham Sundar? Why they call him Mukund? Why they call him Giridhari? The main reason is the one who carried Giriraji. And I mean, the secondary reason is the one who carried Giriraj. He's known as Giridhari. But the primary reason I cannot speak here because it's very intimate. As per the mood, depending on the situation, because of that, gopis call him by any such particular name. Here, calling him as Mukunda. Oh, my friend, hearing the Venu Geet of Mukunda, these rivers become like cheated. Krishna cheated these rivers. Hearing Krishna's Venu Geet, the why called Mukund? Why they called him Mukund? The flute song of Mukunda. These rivers became like cheat कर लिया. Krishna cheated the rivers. Mukunda is the word used here. He has cheated the rivers by playing his flute song. And by hearing Krishna's flute song, these rivers, the so the rivers are feeling like as if the love, they can't hide the love in their heart for Krishna, and now that love is like manifesting externally. The love in the heart of gopis is like they're trying their best to hide it, but it's not happening. It's not hiding. It's like being expressed. It's like coming out. It's like manifesting. The love which gopis have for Krishna in their heart, they want to hide it, but now it's being shown externally. The word Mukund, the word Mukund used here because because of this reason. First reason is the one who gives mukti, mukti dadati, the one who gives us freedom from the miseries of this world, material world. This is the verse from Bhagavatam. Rajan pati gurum alam, kulpati kvacha king karva, ashtameva anam Bhagwan bhajite mukundam, mukti dadati praraju, samanam bhakti yoga. It's from Bhagavatam first canto. Who gives us mukti? No demigod can give us mukti. Can Brahmaji give you mukti, liberation? Can Shiva give you liberation? Can Indra give you liberation? Mukti, liberation is given by only Mukunda. Mukti dadati iti Mukunda. So in this verse from Bhagavatam, it's a very nice, interesting thing said. Krishna can give you liberation, not so easily, but he can give you. Samana Bhakti Yoga. He doesn't give his bhakti so easily. He gives liberation very easily. Why? Why? The one who the one who becomes after you, I want freedom, I want liberation, I want liberation. Bhavan says, okay, you take it. I'm ready to give it to you. Why? Why he is ready to give us liberation? If we aspire for any material desire, Krishna gives that desire. He fulfills that desire of us and he runs away from us. Thank God, now I am free from him. Because if he, because Krishna doesn't want to get in the control of material people. If you want something from me, you take it from me, but please spare me. I want to go away from such people who are always hankering for material desires. So Krishna can give liberation, but not bhakti yoga. Bhakti is not given so easily. That is rakhe lokaiya. That bhakti is hidden. He keeps it hidden because by bhakti, Krishna becomes in control of us. He doesn't want to come in control of us so easily. He wants to, but only by a pure devotee. If someone becomes very pure, then he has no problem in in getting in the control of such a pure devotee. But the devotee should be pure. So now we want to decide, we have to decide if we want liberation or if we want bhakti, mukti or bhakti. Krishna can give easily liberation, but bhakti is hidden. And then through his devotees only, he gives us that bhakti. He distributes it to others through his devotees. He himself doesn't give bhakti. He will step back. If you want liberation from Krishna, he will give it to you. But he will run away. He will run away from you. Another thing which is said here is if someone comes to me with some material desire or without any material desire, or if someone comes even with a desire of liberation, I will fulfill all of their desires. Complete access is given. Come to me. You have some desire, I'll fulfill it to you. I'll fulfill it for you. So you worship me with nishkam bhavna, but you have desires. Don't go here and there. Come to me. I am Mukunda. I can give you liberation. Prabhu, I want your bhakti. Oh, that I cannot give you. That I cannot give you. For that, where we should go then? Whom should we go then? Bhakt sajate bhakteya. Go to my devotees, my pure devotees. They have the wealth of bhakti, treasure of bhakti. They can give bhakti. That is why Mukunda means, the meaning of Mukunda is the one who gives liberation. There are different types of liberations. 5 types of liberation. You want liberation? Anybody? Maharaj is asking. Raise your hands, Maharaj is saying. Some people are saying no. Few days back only I said something. If you hear my katha, you will know. From this I can understand who is listening to my katha. Mukti, liberation means what? Okay, once you become settled in your swarup, and with that swarup, if if you do bhakti, then that's called mukti, liberation. If you're in Sakhi Rasa, Vatsalya Rasa, Madhur Rasa, you reach that level and then you serve Krishna. So this is the liberation which we all aspire for. Second meaning of liberation is, the second meaning of Mukunda is, if you break this word, It's mukti sukham. Mu means mukti sukham. Then ku, mukunda, ku, ku. Ku means what? Kusetam pritva. I'll tell you its meaning. Last, at the end comes da, mukunda. Premanand dadati, iti mukunda. The whole word is broken in three parts. Mukunda. Mu means mukti sukham. Ku means kusant, kusatam pritva. Da means premanand dati. And if you combine this all together, then it means the one who says, okay, okay, it means that the one who even makes the taste of mukti like very small and gives the topmost prem to us. That's Mukunda. First, the meaning of Mukunda is said what? The one who gives us liberation. Very simple meaning of Mukunda. The one who ends our miseries, one who gives us liberation. Second is the one who even makes muktis, the pleasure of liberation, the anand of liberation, and he makes that person who makes that pleasure of liberation zero for us, not important, and instead gives us prema bhakti. That person is known as Mukunda. Tucham means very minute, zero, like not essential, not significant. The otherwise people say that liberation is too significant, but this Mukunda, Krishna, he makes that happiness of mukti, liberation, like not significant. He makes it not essential. So the anand to merge with Brahma in Brahma is nothing in comparison to serving Krishna. Nothing in comparison to bhakti yoga. So senior is what? Mukti or bhakti. Senior, superior is bhakti. So Rupa Goswami said, Klesh Agni Shuddha Moksh Lagu Takrita Sudurlava. Sandarnath Shri Krishna Akarshane. This is some verse which Maharaj said. When a sadhak does bhakti, then he takes his mantras from his Gurudev. So the process of bhakti starts from that day. When we take shelter of our Gurudev, we take the mantras from Gurudev. When those mantras are given, Gopal mantra, Kam Gayatri, given in our ears like seeds of bhakti, from that very day, we get the qualification to do bhakti. We become qualified to do bhakti. But before that, if we try to do Harinam, and when we do mantra, after receiving our mantras, there's difference which we can experience. No one needs to tell us this. You can feel this yourself. How was our Mahamantra before initiation, and how is the quality of chanting Harinam after our initiation? When the sadhan starts, then the creeper of bhakti, Bhakti Lata, starts from there. Two branches come from the creeper of bhakti. One is Klesh Agni, means the all the Kalesh, miseries of this world end. They become Shant. Second is Shubda. All auspiciousness begins. All auspiciousness comes. Then two more branches of this creeper of bhakti comes. This is advanced stage. At sadhan level, sadhan stage, these two branches come. Further, at Bhav Dasha, when Bhav Dasha, the stage of Bhav comes, then two more branches come in that creeper of bhakti. Moksha Laguta Krita Sudurlava. That time, even liberation will be like a straw of grass. Dry grass, dry grass. No one even looks at that. No one wants to look at a dry grass. And and liberation, the Mukti Devi, she folds her hands like this, and she walks behind Bhakti Devi, or your devotee. Mukti Devi speaks to Bhakti Devi. Your devotee is serving. Please engage me in the service of your devotee. Please also engage me in the service. Bhakta says, stay away from me. Don't even come near me. Your smell of liberation, I don't like it. I don't like it. You take me away from Krishna, so stay away from me. So stay away from me, don't come near me. A devotee is like this towards liberation. This is the third branch. Fourth branch is Sudurlabha. Like this, they are detailed explanation. So the point is, first meaning of Mukunda is the God who gives us, Bhagavan who gives us liberation. Second meaning is those who, that person who makes liberation very small and instead gives us Premanand. That is Mukunda. He makes the desire of liberation very small, and instead he gives us the Prema Bhakti, Anand of Prema Bhakti. That Anand of Prem is what? Which Prem? Which Prem is that? The service of Krishna's lotus feet. And and this happiness devotees do not want, but because then it becomes like sense gratification. Yes, I will do the bhajan of Bhagwan. I want to get prem. I will get prem. Initially, we all do that, but when we become little mature, then what do we say? Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, "मारो भी राखो भी जो इच्छा तुम्हार नित्य दासपति तुम्हार अधिकार." Hey Bhagwan, oh my God, oh my, you, even if you want to hit me or you want to kill me or you want to keep me alive, give me prem or don't give me prem. I am your servant. I will never leave your lotus feet. Rest is your desire. You want to give me, you are my master. You don't want to give me, you are my master. I will not force you to give me anything, because if if we pray, worship Krishna to get some anand, then there is some condition. But actually, love is unconditional. If we are worshipping Krishna to get premanand, then this is not pure bhakti. There is some condition. We want something for us. So the last verse of Shiksha Ashtakam is what? The last verse of Shiksha Ashtakam. You put me at your lotus feet, keep me at your lotus feet, or you embrace me in any situation. You will be my Pranath. I will never forget you. I will never leave you. This mood is the right mood. So that person who makes the liberation, desire of liberation very small and gives us Premanand, that person is called Mukunda. Mukunda. And the third meaning of Mukunda is Mu means Mukam. M-U, Mu. We have to break this word in actually three parts. Mu means Mukham. Ku means Kumta Pushmamat. Yasya Mukham Sa. The one whose face is like lotus, always blossomed, very soft, komal, and he, he's always attracting everyone. That's Mukunda. The one whose face is like a Mu means face. Ku means Ku means a flower, very beautiful flower, very blossomed flower. So Bhagwan's face, lotus face, is like a kund flower, always blossomed, always smiling. Krishna is not like this, like frowning, always like not whining, not crying like that. He's very smile. He has a smile. He's madhur, and his face is very soft, beautiful, attractive. Chit Akarshak, the one who attracts everyone's hearts towards him. Chit Akarshak, that is Mukunda. So you all should learn this definition of Mukunda. The three meanings of Mukunda. The one who gives us liberation. Second is the one who makes the desire of liberation very small and instead gives us prem, Premanand, Prem ka Anand, Premanand. And third is Mu means Mukh, Kund means a very beautiful flower. His face is blossomed like a very sweet, beautiful flower, and that face always attracts everyone. Three meanings of the word Mukunda are explained here in this verse. And first two meanings, of Mukunda are what? Those people who are karmis, and even first two definitions of Mukunda. See here, three definitions of Mukunda are given. Right? Mukund means the one who gives us liberation. First definition. That is for the karmis of this world. Materialistic people, karam kandi people. I just want liberation. They are only concerned for liberation. They do some nice work. I want liberation. They don't know that who will give them liberation. They run here and there for to demigods, but demigods can't give liberation. More mukti is only given by Mukunda. So they come near Bhagwan. Please give us liberation. You come to such a big personality and you came to ask only for a small dry grass. Gurudev gave us one example. An old lady once, and she couldn't do any work. In the forest, she would go to collect sticks, wooden sticks to make, because that's how they use, their cooking gas in the kitchen. So a storm came and all the bundle of woods from her head fell down. Now she is looking all around in the forest. Who will come to help me? Who will come in this forest to help me in this storm? From the front, a king came, and the king was going through the forest, and he said, oh mother, I am the king of this place. Whatever you want from me, I will give you everything. Tell me, what do you want? She says, oh king, see this basket of wooden, it has fallen from my head. Can you just keep this on my head? I can't bend down. I am so old. So is she called intelligent? She is foolish. She could have asked anything from the king. The king was so willing to give her anything. But what did she ask for? Such a tiny thing. You keep this basket of woods sticks on my head. So we come to Krishna, we ask for such small things because our life is so stuck in such things. Either we ask for material desires or we ask for liberation. That's it. So these are Karmi people. Karmis pray like this. So the first definition of Mukunda applies to Karmis, the one who gives liberation. Second definition of Mukunda was what? Remember it, recall it. The one who makes liberation, the desire of liberation, very small and gives us premanand. This is for whom? Gyanis. Shukdev Goswami. Gyanis like Shukdev Goswami and Char Kumar, Sanakadi. These personalities are Gyani. They think Brahmanand is everything. But Krishna's bhakti, coming near Krishna, they think liberation is very small. Few days back here, when I was speaking Harikatha here, I mentioned about Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. He could not speak liberation from his mouth. He so much transformed from what he was to that he can't even utter the word liberation from his lips, from his mouth. This is the second meaning of liberation, which applies to Gyanis. Third definition of Mukunda is one whose face is so beautiful, attractive, like a flower. Who is that? Who comes in this category? Gopis come in this category. Braj Gopis have no connection with the first two definitions, meanings of Mukunda. They don't want liberation. They don't want liberation. Gopis are saying Anurakta Kataksh Moksham Akshutum Phalam Idam. Those whose eyes have those who have not taken darshan of Radha and Krishna from their eyes are useless. The eyes are just useless. Gopis have no relation with the first two definitions of Mukunda. They are always um, Krishna's face is like what? Can you see his face? Maharaj is asking, is Krishna like this? Oh, I have so much stress. I have to create such a big creation, so many universes. Where should I go? I have to do. I have to do so many pastimes. I have to do Ras Leela. I have to do my childhood pastimes. I have to go to Dhruva. I have to go to Draupadi. So many things I have to do. So much stress I have. Krishna is saying, sometimes Sakhas are calling me, play with us. Cows are calling me. Gopis are calling me. Where should I go? And I also get chastised by Yashoda Maya. So much stress. Out of stress, he should have got wrinkles by now. Other side, there is a Mahabharat war. So many appointments Krishna has. He's so busy. So, what all should I do? I have to speak Gita also. Oh, today this person calls me, then that person calls me. So many universes. Anytime anybody calls me, hey Govinda Rakho Laj. So Govinda has to run then behind that devotee. Draupadi ji called him. That time, he was about to put food, prasad in his mouth. Sorry, food. Most favorite, whatever you think is most favorite for you. Just think of that. Donut, rabdi, gulab jamun. Wah, such delicious food items. So Krishna was about to eat when Draupadi called him. He was just about till here. And Draupadi was calling him and he was like, let me leave my food and go to Draupadi. So he has no time even to honor his food. So much stress, so many tasks. He has to do the creation, he has to go to this universe. Pralay will take place. Shivji called me. Brahmaji also praying me. Uddhavji, you also don't leave me. Maharaj is saying, if I get two tasks, I become so stressed out. And if someone gives me more tasks, I'm like, oof, it's too much for me. And those who live with me, they get chastised. But Krishna is how? Always prafullit, happy, smiling. There are too many people I have who can work for me. Krishna is not creating the creation. Krishna is just desiring, oh, the creation should take place. Baldev Prabhu manifested Karadaksha Vishnu, Garadaksha Vishnu, Shiradaksha Vishnu, Shesh, and the creation took place. Who will handle this creation? Garadaksha, you take handle this creation. You maintain it. You handle it. You take care of it. Pralay is required. Shiva, you take it. You take care of it. And then who has to maintain the creation? Brahma, you take care of this. But Prabhu, we need water, we need air, we need jivas. How this jiva will maintain? Indra, you take care of it. Give them air, water. Mayu Devta, Agni Devta, 33 crore Agni Devta, 33 crore Devi demigoddesses are for what purpose? You all do your jobs. I will be relaxed. So he has no stress. He has no tension. He just plays his flute calmly, relaxed. But even his peaceful is not, he is not in actually peace. Because here in Braj, Gopis, Radha Rani warned that Krishna should always be near her. How is that possible? Where will the Sakhas go? Yashoda Maya also has love for Krishna. Nand Maharaj also has love for Krishna. Cows have love for Krishna. Birds, animals have love for Krishna. So how he can always be with Radharani? That is why he reciprocates with everyone. Krishna. Other side, how is the love of Radharani? She has no connection with anybody. She has no friends. She's no her center is only Krishna. To give pleasure to Krishna, to love Krishna, to serve Krishna, to always give Anand to Krishna. This is her only purpose, prayojan, goal. No other intention she has. So Bhavan also does like this to Radharani. I give all my tasks to others. Still, I'm not at peace because the biggest task is he can't play his flute peacefully because he can't he can't play his flute peacefully because he has to go to different devotees. Still, he can manage that, but Radharani's transcendental anger, oh, sometimes with reason, sometimes without reason, to convince her is so difficult. This is the biggest job for Krishna, not anything else. For other tasks, he has demigods. This is little like a joke, like a has paryas. But Krishna is always prafullit, smiling, happy. He smiles gently, like his smile will be white, but he won't show his teeth. Maybe maximum two front teeth. That's it. Third meaning of Mukunda applies to the gopis, Braj gopis. That's for gopis. So Krishna increases their prem of gopis, Anand Vardhanam. Gopis see the darshan, they take the darshan of Krishna's lotus feet. They are always hankering, eager to take darshan of Krishna. We want to see Krishna. We want to take darshan of Krishna. So they hanker for that. This is the reason that gopis love. Okay, this verse is from Bhagavatam. Jaiti Janvaso Yadu Parishad Sve Dobi Asya Dharma स्थिरचर व्रजेना सुस्मिता श्री मुखेना ब्रजपुर वनिता नाम काम 10:90:48 Bhagavatam. You can learn it. It's a very important verse. 10:90:48. Who is saying this? Shukdev Goswami is speaking this verse. Jayati Jan Nivaso. Um, Krishna, you took birth in Braj. You are the son of Yashoda Devi. Someone says you are the son of Devki. This is a This is a matter of argument. You forget it. It's you forget it. You establish dharma with your two arms. Which two arms? Arjun and Bhim, two arms of Krishna. Okay, you leave that also. Come to Madhure level. Sthirchar Vrajena, Susmetena, Shimukhena. How his lotus face is. He smiles gently. Vardham Kamadevam. The gopis of Vrindavan, Krishna increases their prem. Prem Vardhanam. Krishna increases their prem, gopis prem. So Sakhis are saying to each other that Sakhis, these rivers are so fortunate, more fortunate than us. Again, they are coming now to rivers. Now they are after the rivers of Braj, Yamuna and Mansi Ganga. These rivers are fortunate than us, more fortunate than us. We are we are very sober. We have shyness, unfortunately, which we cannot do. These rivers can do for the pleasure of Krishna, they can do. Gopis, out of humility, they are saying we are very sober, we are hesitant, we are shy, and we are also unfortunate. This is not true. This is not true actually. They are always eager and they have excuses, logics to meet Krishna. They leave all their moral values to meet Krishna. But these rivers, they are not like us. They have no shyness, no hesitant. They are not unfortunate. They are most fortunate than us. Why? Because they, um, on their chest, they keep Krishna's lotus feet, and with their soft hands, they massage Krishna's lotus feet. This is how their life is successful. Krishna, when goes to Yamuna ji, what does Yamuna Maharani does? First, she takes the lotus feet of Krishna on her chest. Her chest is very soft, and with her soft, gentle hands, she massages Krishna's lotus feet. These are those soft, gentle waves which are like hands of Yamuna Maharani, and they are massaging Krishna's lotus feet when Krishna enters in the water of Yamuna Devi in Braj. And gopis are also saying, although these rivers, when they meet Krishna, okay, now they have left their husband, the ocean, and Krishna is an par purush for them, the one who is not your husband, par purush. This is not good for females to meet some other man other than your husband. Still they meet with Krishna, and their relationship with Krishna is pure, nirmal. Krishna is not their husband. Their husband is the ocean, husband of Yamuna and Mahansi Ganga, but they have love for Krishna. Even still, these rivers, their love is very pure, soft and pure. There is no sin in that because Krishna is Murari. Gopis are saying that another name of Krishna is Murari. Krishna. Murari means what? The one who killed the demon called Mur. Mur, the name of a demon, Murari. There was a demon called Mur. Krishna killed him. So his name became Murari. Gopis are saying, in Braj, everyone knows this. When Gargacharya ji came to give the names came for the name ceremony, name giving ceremony of Krishna, that time he said, Narayan Samo Gunaha. You all know this point, right? Gargacharya came from Mathura by on the request of Nanda Maharaj to give the name to Krishna. Secretly, Gargacharya ji said, he said that this child is like Narayan, very okay. This child of Nanda Maharaj is just like Narayan. He has all the qualities of Narayan. Okay. If someone massages the lotus feet of Narayan, any female, will that spoil her dharma towards her husband? No. Who massages the lotus feet of Narayan? Lakshmi ji. So her dharma towards her husband doesn't get spoiled. Similarly, those who massage, serve the lotus feet of Krishna, these rivers, even their dharma towards their husband, the ocean doesn't get spoiled. Why? Why? If someone asks why, what is the answer? Anybody can object. Freedom of speech. They can raise this doubt. We can say anything like they say in America. So we will speak for Bhagwan. Why is so that we can understand for Narayan, that's the husband, he's the husband of Lakshmi ji. Lakshmi ji is giving massage to her husband, so there's no fault in that. But Prabhu, you, what to speak of you? No, no, say. No, you are not the husband of Lakshmi. So Lakshmi is not your wife. If she touches your lotus feet, then there's some fault in that. These rivers are also not your wives. They are the wives of the ocean. They also touching your lotus feet, so there is some fault in that. Some sin is in there. Yes or no? Maharaj is asking, why are you scared? Say yes or no. There is some problem, but there is a logic given here. Evidence, praman, evidence. No, it's not wrong. It's nobody's at fault. Rivers are not at fault. Lakshmi is not at fault. When Gargacharya came for name giving ceremony of Krishna, then he said at that time, Narayan Samo Gunaha, your child Nand Maharaj, he's just as good as Narayan. He's like Narayan. He's stamped Gargacharya that he's Narayan. So if someone touches Krishna's lotus feet, how can there be some sin there or doubt there or fault there? Krishna has all the logics around him that nobody can raise any objection for him at him. Gargacharya ji, who can deny his words? Who can deny Bhagavatam? This is the system. Anybody can touch his lotus feet. No one can say any objection because he is Narayan only. Narayan is the Vilas Vigre of Krishna. Second point, 10th canto Bhagavatam. Brahma ji, when he worships Krishna, and he says what? Hey Krishna, are you not Narayan? Krishna says, oh Brahma, how can I be Narayan? Since when I am Narayan? No, Prabhu, I am your son. No, no, you are not my son. You are Narayan's son. You came from his navel, not my navel. So Brahma ji is giving this logic here. Are you not Narayan? Brahma is asking to Krishna. Krishna says, okay, prove it how I am Narayan. Brahma ji said, Nar means Ayan means ashray, shelter. Are you not the ashray of all the jivas? Nar means jivas. So that's why you are Narayan. You are giving shelter to all the jivas. Nar means incarnation, and Ayan means ashray, shelter. Are you not the ashray of all the incarnations? Are you not the shelter of all the incarnations? So Bhavan said, that is why, according to so many points, Sri Krishna is also Narayan. Means the meaning of the word Narayan also applies to Krishna. So these rivers, if they abandon their husband ocean and instead they touch the lotus feet of Krishna, then they are not at fault. There is no nothing wrong with that. Basically, their dharma towards their husband doesn't get spoiled. Now we will hear tomorrow. We will end here today. All glories to Sri Venugeet. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Tomorrow same time, Venugeet. Friday. Tomorrow we will hear Venugeet. Saturday, break. Sunday, Updeshamrit. The rest of the announcements will be announced tomorrow. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Surabhi Mataji.